All right, welcome to the video. This is a companion video to the previous one where I compared three harmonicas, a Hohner Golden Melody, a Hohner Rocket Amp, and a Fender Blues Deluxe, and I did that as a blindfolded comparison so you can listen to them and see what you like the sound of without knowing which was which. In this video, I'm going to talk about the experience of playing the harmonica, sort of a subjective comparison, and also whether or not I think it was a good investment as a beginner. I've only been playing for a year, so I'm still pretty much a beginner, and the Hohner Golden Melody was the first more expensive harmonica I bought. So I want to talk about that, but also let you hear them kind of without muting them with my hand. So the harmonica I was just playing is the Golden Melody, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is the way they feel. So I don't want to stick this right in the camera and make it blurry, but the Golden Melody, obviously they all pretty much have a standard comb, but the shoulders of the mouthpiece are kind of high. So when I first got this, previously I'd had the Blues Deluxe, which feels very different. One thing I had to work on when I got it was my embouchure. It didn't take well to any sort of sloppiness, which was a good thing. It made me be more precise. And if you listen to the previous video, you might have noticed when I played the song You Got to Move, there were a couple places where I got slurs into other notes that I didn't on the other harmonicas. So that's definitely a difference in the feel. To compare that, if you look at the Blues Deluxe, it's much fatter. You can see that this widens out and also kind of has a similar shoulder shape to the Golden Melody, but it's definitely fatter. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I have a Lee Oscar harmonica which has almost an identical shape to this. So that's a matter of personal preference. Now that I've played other harmonicas, I find this less comfortable, but you adapt really quickly. It's not like it's, it's kind of like if you're a guitar player, the difference between a Les Paul and a Strat. Yes, there are differences in the scale, but you adapt really quickly once you get used to it. The Rocket Amp has this sort of the smallest, I guess I would use the word smallest, sort of interface with the mouth. The slope is much sharper or greater. So and for the shape of my mouth, again, this is just personal preference, this fits easier than either of the other ones, I would say. But again, it's minute, and each of them, obviously you learn to adapt, and that's part of getting, I think, learning to play the harmonica. So that's kind of the interface. In terms of playability and sound, I don't dislike the sound of the Blues, wait, that's not the Blues Deluxe. I don't dislike the sound of the Blues Deluxe at all. There's something about it that's, and again, I'm talking about it more subjectively from hearing it here. But it's a harder harmonica to play consistently. One thing you have to really do, and again, this could be a plus, I shouldn't say again, it could be a plus, but it could be a plus, is it's easy to choke this harmonica out if you play too hard. And particularly the 3 jaw is sensitive to like just choking out. So that's something that, again, could be a good thing. It could teach you some breath control. But sometimes it just sticks and you feel like you didn't do anything wrong, and that can be frustrating. The tuning is not as precise, but I mean, it's a $13 harmonica. You wouldn't expect it to be. It does a lot of things well, but like if I go to the 2 draw, sorry, that took a second to get precise. If I try to bend down, it's really hard to get it to that F note in a precise way. You can add the bend in kind of as an inflection, but kind of the precision that, for example, with the Rocket Amp, it just bends so much easier on the Rocket Amp. And I think as a beginner that's important, because the frustration you're going to feel when you learn to bend, it's frustrating enough. If that is complicated by the harmonica being inconsistent or unresponsive in some way, That's going to make it harder to practice, harder to know if you're making a mistake and what mistake you're making. So yeah, once I upgraded to a better harmonica, my bending started to be more consistent, which made me, feel more confident, and it made me want to practice more. So cutting to the chase, absolutely, I think it's worth buying a more expensive harmonica. If you think about the cost of it over time, it's minuscule. If you amortize the cost of $60 worth of versus $13 over just 2 months, you can see that you're talking about a difference of what, $47, basically that's what, 75 cents a day. And I think it's worth it. And I know maybe at the beginning, I know that's what I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. I didn't want to spend what seemed like a lot of money, $60 for something that might have been in the trash the next day. So I definitely think it's worth investing in the better harmonica in the beginning. And one of the other reasons, besides the consistency of bending and the more pleasant playing experience, is it teaches you better technique. This harmonica, the Rocket Amp, is louder, or it perceives to be louder. It could be somewhat a tonal difference, but it's louder with less work. And I know I said before you have to be very cautious about not choking this out, but trying to get a good tone out of this, the Fender Blues Deluxe, it's almost like a tightrope act between not drawing too hard, but you got to draw harder to get less sound out. You have to draw harder to get less sound out. Whereas it's easy to overdo it on this harmonica. So coming at it, I used to be a guitar teacher, and I'd have students come in and they'd bring in these horrible instruments that were hard to play. And I mean, not only is it hard to play, and that's frustrating, but it's teaching students bad technique. If you're playing the guitar and you're muckling down on the guitar neck, well, when you get a better guitar, if you do that to the guitar neck, you're going to have to unlearn that because you're going to be pulling that guitar out of tune. So I think there's another advantage there. I've gone on longer than I wanted to, but I want to throw in one more thing in case you consider it. The Special 20, which I believe is $10 less than either the Golden Melody, the Rocket Amp. This is not key of C. I don't have the fourth harmonica in the key of C because that would just be silly, at least for now. But the mouthpiece feel is, to the best of my knowledge, identical to the Rocket Amp. I haven't dug out the calibers to check that. Also a really nice responsive. This is a key of A, so it's going to sound a little lower. So if you're looking at one of these in the key of C, you maybe save $10. I think it's a good investment. I do have one Special 20 that isn't great, but it's 1 out of, I think, 4. And it probably just needs some work on it. So I hope that's helpful. Again, it's kind of my 2 cents worth, and it's my subjective experience of playing the harmonicas. And I hope you check out the other videos so you can listen to them blindfold and see what you like the sound of, because that's ultimately what any instrument's about. And I hope this is helpful. Feel free to leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, etc. Tell me if you'd like to see another comparison, what have you. I hope you have an amazing day.